anybody out there, Misty's not just this woman that's over here that's just having a great conversation with me. Not just a woman that left working in the addiction space in mental health. She is somebody else, right? She's got more to her. Everybody, by the way, everybody's going to watch this. There's something special about you. You just may not know how to share it with the world, or you won't share it with a few people. So Misty shared this with me, and I'm glad that she's willing to speak about it, because there's some challenges that she faces that a lot of us take for granted. And working in the physical world and working in physical maturity as a personal trainer, this is something worth mentioning.
Yeah. So, I would love to talk about that. Yeah. I was born with a very rare retinal disease called achromatopsia. It's a genetic mutation that both of my parents carried as a recessive gene, but no one else in my family has it. It's extremely rare. About 1 in a million people get it. And it's not treatable. So it has taken away all of my light and color vision. So I don't drive. I can't drive. I can't drive at all, even though I probably could at night, but they won't give me a driver's license during the daytime because I get flooded when there's a lot of light. My vision gets flooded and everything's very distorted. And so I typically wear a lot of hats and sunglasses when there's bright light. At the studio, I adapt my and anywhere I go, anywhere that I stay for a long time. There's adaptive lighting, there's adaptive computer technology. I've learned to adapt, but it was a challenge growing up, and I do believe that's made me who I am. It's a very, very large part of who I am, even though I don't like to talk about it because it's. I don't mind talking about it right now because, to be honest with you, I didn't say this to you yesterday when we spoke, but I have been waiting and I'm 44 years old, so I've been waiting to come out and talk about this and find some way to talk about it. And all of my clients know, because it becomes obvious when you're around me enough. There are some little things that and I'm also legally blind because of the distortion in vision. My vision is 2400 in both eyes, so I have to look very closely at things. I have to have large print. So when you're around me enough, you see those things, and so I spent a lot of my life running from that, and well, not really. Well, yes, running, but. I've embraced it now, but when I was much younger, there was a lot of coddling by my family, and they meant well, but there was a lot of, she won't be able to do this, she won't be able to drive, she's not going to have like a regular job, or that was the way that it was made me to feel. Maybe. Looking back, like if my mom would probably say, "No, I was very encouraging to you," but in that I was made to feel like I was being, babied, So there was a lot of feeling like inadequate and not enough. So I think, and then growing up not being able to be very physical, because when you have distortion in vision and visual impairment, I couldn't play any sports. So anything with a hand-eye, can't throw a ball and hit. It's funny. So I always got taken out of gym class, PE class, which I wanted to do that, but there wasn't a way for me to do it. So they tried to put me in places in class, like as a teacher's assistant, and always tried to make me feel valuable. But never got to play with the rest of the kids in the fun part of school, in gym class, so I never got to be part of sports. And so, it was exciting when my son grew up and started playing basketball and he was a star, so my mom finally got to see someone, we get to go to games and stuff like that. But anyway, getting too far off topic, that was where I think my love for when I did learn to finally move my body and move it in a purposeful, meaningful way, and realize that I had some control and agency over movement and how I could change my own body. And it wasn't even for the sake of aesthetics, even though I think there's always some aesthetics involved there, but it was more so that oh my gosh, I can lose weight, I can gain muscle, I can change just how I feel every day, just walking around. My posture is different, my shoulders are back, and people treat me differently, because you know this, when, as someone that's fit and healthy, you do get treated differently, and it's unfortunate that it's that way. And because inside, I am still that little girl that was bullied, that was teased, that had a visual impairment, that that went through things that are just unimaginable. But I still look at there's still that kind of part of me that looks at myself like, oh, why do I deserve this? I'm still that little that geeky little girl with a disability, and I don't like to call it a disability. I do call it an impairment, but for a long time I called it a disability. But now it's just something that, I modify. And a lot of people that meet me are like, really? They'll find out later and they won't know, because I've done a lot to try to adapt myself to where that doesn't come up. But I do find myself more now wanting to talk more about it, especially because there's so many people out there struggling with physical, mental, multiple different types of learning disabilities. And it blows me away what people will do to try to hide these things, when it really is what makes them so unique. And that's really why I wanted to start talking about it. I'm glad that you brought it up, and I've wanted to start on my page, and in my training, and I talk with clients about it, and how to overcome that and make it your strength, because I do think it's really what's made me who I am.
Yeah. And I can see two parts to that, right? One of them is like, if you identify with the condition, then it becomes part of your character.
Mm-hmm.
In such a way that it could be a scapegoat, it could be ways to get off of challenges, things like that. You did not choose that path.
Mm-hmm.
The other is, by going out and talking about it, that what comes to mind for me is something that I detest about the media, where they would come in and like a news channel or something would come in and they'd highlight you and be like, hey, this person has this challenge and look at what she can do. Well,
yeah, I know. I hate that.
Yeah, one side is like, I can get away with something as in the youthful mindset, the immature mindset. But as you've developed to a degree, then you're like, hey, I can make this into a business model. That's
Mm-hmm.
actually letting in the demon you've been fighting this entire time, but from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Feel that you're mature enough not to do that, because if you do start talking openly about this, with the way that we're now going as far as the country goes, there is a pretty good chance we're going to start looking for feel-good reports again. We're going to start looking for overcoming